and you have to know these certain things when you're dealing with people. Everyone is taught this now. It's not new information, although it is part of the mainstream curriculum now. And the thing is David Icke was writing about this in the 80s, but he was talking about it in his own coded way. And I know that you mentioned him before. How did you get on with David when you spoke to him?
As well as you can, being, a young man who's like from New Zealand going, oh my God, I'm interviewing David Icke. Oh, isn't that awesome?
Yeah, good content for your show and archives. Right?
Oh,
It felt like, yeah, it was like, man, I'm yeah, this is the good stuff.
Yeah, it's like almost as if, because I got to interview him, not only do I get access firsthand to talk with this guy who's accomplished so much and has such wonderful ideas in the way that he expresses them, but also it's there online forever, so that people can't deny that it took place, and it gives me credibility just having them on the website, and that's really good because there's so much important stuff that gets talked about on my show that ain't just the big boys, I've had so many activists that have...
You have to deal with all the same media effects. You've got to get the things to draw the extra credibility of speaking to these more high-profile people to bring attention to the lower-profile stuff. Is that what you're expressing?
Well, I say that you cover everything, and as a result, everything comes to me.
Yeah, I don't know what Bob thinks of David Icke. What are his basic? Does he have some basic things that he's been saying for the last? How long has he been doing it? 20 years or something? This guy, or whatever. It doesn't matter how long. What is the basic thing he says? What are his basic? Can you summarize it? What does he have?
Basic things are: he doesn't like the encroachment of tyranny over freedom, and wants people to be free and clean and healthy and happy.
That's odd. Okay, what's the second thing?
To be spiritually aware. To be spiritually aware and to expose those who are...
He wants people to be aware. Is that what he wants people to be aware of his information or patterns that other writers are also laying out that are similar to him? Kind of watch out, they're tightening the noose and bringing up the water past the boiling point.
He talked about being a perpetual student to a degree, that nobody knows it all, and you've got to seek out as much information as you can on everything to make up your mind. Let the information guide your thinking process rather than the other way around.
I suppose whether that would impose any form of accuracy or if that just reflects the swath of information and just grime dripping everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, there's an old saying, even if a story isn't real, it can still be a good story.
True as well. I mean, damn! Look at absolutely. So that was point 2 about being aware or something, and opening yourself up to as many sources as possible. Is that, to paraphrase, kind of what he was saying? Is
not to reject. No, more like to be open, not to reject information because of it previously held to belief, but to look at the information. Right.
So you read UFO magazines and Nazi literature and all that kind of thing, even if you don't believe it.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, you got to study things properly.
So if I see you reading that, I won't think, he's into that. No, but that's the problem. So you got to hide. Yeah, but you don't read, so that you won't have that issue.
Yeah, but I've listened to recordings and watched videos of people who deny that the concentration camps have happened, and countless UFO researchers, talk to people who claim to have invented free energy devices, people who...
Which again, I think, did Bob mention the battery thing? Obviously he said, well, no, and you said he would be killed for it, so he stopped discussing it, which is probably sensible. But yeah, but again, see, you've come to the right place, but continue.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that all the things you're saying, it's almost like if you're, Anyways, you'll love when you research Bob and Connie a little more. Just after, later on, you'll be amazed how much information and stuff they've already put out. You'll have to see it. It's just a vast archive. But and then you'll see why tonight Bob isn't saying anything, or so far. He's maybe coming around soon. I mean, maybe he's getting something to eat, or a little fresh air or nap, or what? Go ahead.
He might be exhausted from doing all this talk radio.
Well, he's been up for how many hours? About 52 hours? Not only that, I don't know if you haven't been tuning in. He's been going very, energetic. There's been certain ways where he gets a little slowed down a bit and maybe not quite as sharp and, but yeah, no, it's amazing. Even just before he signed off, he was pretty revved up. So, I'm getting tired, but yeah, no, I'm sure he'll be coming back soon.
Oh, wow.
But continue, my brother.
More power to him. And his product, I've heard so many people who have tried his product, and it really, really, really works.
Sweet.
To the point where they're just totally amazed, kind of thing. So yeah.
Well, you're into that kind of thing, I'd imagine.
Oh yeah. For some reason, I have this kind of aversion of purchasing things.
Well, you don't have to. You get the free sample. Yeah. But I'm sounding like I'm trying to sell you something. And I'm not. But let's put it this way at the start. You said you want to be just all your life and blah, 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 and all that stuff. Well, that's your choice, and these guys have been just all their life, and Bob's 92, so, in Plato's Republic, as much as people find it repugnant to the Republic, that's one of the things he says, that justice in the end is, well, no, Bob would disagree, but he's not on the line. But in the book, he expresses that justice is how the universe ultimately is, and in harmony, and expressing that, and so ultimately that will win in the end. But what it appears in the shadows and the skullduggery is that the cheaters will win, and it appears they do, and the psychopaths will get the jobs and they'll wreck it for the other people. But if Bob was here,
Name me some evil people that have been assassinated. See, deathly silence. Name me some good people.
Nice, buddy. You can open your radio shows with each one of those. Use that as your opening question to many guests. That's great. I wish Bob was here.
The point is, the exact opposite of karma is true. If you're a good person, you don't hurt nobody, boy, you're going to get a real harsh life. If you're a dick, you fuck over everybody, mate, your life is going to be bitches and roses forever. Okay?
Yes and no. But you know what? Guess what? I know some people that have the latter but didn't, I know people that are really successful and did it just by being smart and not cheating. And they're respected as a result, and they're happy, and their employees like them because they treat them like family, because they know, it's why do it nasty.
Yeah. But
so you know what I mean? So there's people. What?
Yeah. I know. But we're talking about like a law, like a rule of thumb. Just because murder is illegal doesn't mean it doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm.
I sort of do. That's a weird.
And I plan to challenge that paradigm myself, because I'd really like to, have wealth, security, and comfort, whilst at the same time being able to get down to the nitty-gritty and really help people when they're in desperate need of media coverage. One of the goals of Guerrilla Media, is to give the activists the tools and the skills that they need to go out, and so that they can create their own audience, their own support network, so that not only do they not need help or funding from any big entities or whatever, or any media coverage from anybody to suck up to anybody for something that they want. They have their own power, they have their own machinations, and if we empower individuals who have proved themselves exceptional at what it is that they do, would wind up having a much better society, I think, because at the moment we seem to be normal people giving up all of the powers that we have to people who are not exceptional. And if they are exceptional, they're exceptionally bad. And I don't think that's a good idea.
But it also sounds like you feel there's pockets for you to create your own situation and maneuver even within that rubric. If that is rubric is a description of how you feel the society is structuring itself now.
Do you feel that somebody who works till about 3 a.m. in the morning most days of the week doesn't usually get a day off, is often doing multiple hours of radio per day, giving coverage to people's important ideas and what have you, and spending all of their available time editing and promoting those other people's ideas, which the day before I'd never even been exposed to in the first place, just so that person can get the coverage that they deserve that the mainstream media won't give them. Do you think that person deserves to live in pain, poverty, constant anxiety?
Well, with that kind of working from like 7 in the morning till midnight, every day, if the work's kind of nice, I guess it's not so bad. I mean, if you're in prison in Russia, penal colony, I think that's a hard labor. That's what you have to do, but be more mundane. But yeah, it sounds pretty painful. It sounded like you were describing being in jail or something, except the work was kind of nicer, a little bit nicer. You had to do like web work or telephone service stuff or something. It sounds pretty ghetto-y.
We're all pretty much prisoners to our line of work.
Yeah.
It turns out that my line of work is to free people from prisons.
That's wicked, dude. Well, you got stuff to wake up in the morning and do. I'm not saying leave now, but I'm just saying sounds like you like what you're doing.
To a large extent, it's actually you kind of have thoughts of this man, I can't be bothered doing it today, or something like that. You have doubts, and then I look at all of these people that I've had on my show, have a look at all these listeners who send me all these accolades, see all this money people are donating, and I'm just like, you know what? Even if I didn't like doing it, I would still be doing it. Even if I hated it, I would still be doing it because it just needs to be done. There's nobody else in New Zealand doing this. It desperately needed to be done. Somebody had to do it, and unfortunately there's nobody else in this country with the power to do it in the way that I am. And so the people with the power, the people with the gift of the gab, the people with the ability to put in those late nights, to embody the entrepreneurial spirit, I think it's a responsibility of theirs to help the community realize its own potential. Because I think Tony Robbins, motivational speaker, right, he had this belief that humanity's suffering from a crisis of faith. But it's not suffering from a crisis of faith in the system. It's not suffering from a crisis of faith in religion. We're suffering from a crisis of faith in ourselves. And that's the worst kind of thing to lose your faith in. If you lose faith in yourself, may God help you, And I try to remind myself every day to have faith in myself, because I've got these I've got a number of folders on my desktop here that's full of abuse, trolls, and stuff like that, screenshots that I take. So whenever somebody abuses me or is mean to me or does something nasty, I record and document it for later, just in case this person starts trying to come after me in like a gang stalking kind of way. I'll have like a trail of evidence for which to expose their scumbaggery. But
people do that now, eh? Everyone's surveilling everyone. I notice that when people come into my studio, it's like I'm playing them like just maybe some of my own jams, just, we're hanging out, and then suddenly, 5 minutes later, I hear it playing back on their cell phone. It's like, well, what the hell is that? How's it going here? Oh, I just recorded a little bit of it. Oh, really? And other people were doing it too, but they didn't say, hey, can I record some of that? They just automatically just, that's a whole different thing now too. People are just documenting every square inch of their situation, and obviously when they bring the Google glasses in and Google contact lenses or whatever it's going to be, oh my God. Anyways, I'm not going to complain. I get my slack taken away even by thinking of this. See, I don't want to think about this shit. Bob is right. You get on the drops and focus on other stuff. And there's so many paths that are productive that you can channel your intellect and energy and passion into that'll yield amazing results. And then you can still deal with all the negative stuff that I think it's important you're dealing with.
Yeah. It's about acknowledging that the bad stuff's there, not denying that it exists, though, you know. That's why I call the show The Lighter Side of Genocide, because...
Oh, brother, I love you, man. You're hilarious. You're funny, man. Yeah.
I mean, see, just because I like to look on the lighter side of genocide doesn't mean the genocide doesn't ever happen. All right, and you need to be prepared to kind of deal with that kind of nasty stuff if you want to get to the really good stuff. I mean, like Indiana Jones, for example. Do you think he was able to get the golden monkey after walking a nice, beautiful path that had no obstacles, no poison darts, no nothing? Nah, he went through horrible struggles and terrible traps and tricks and giant spiders.
Now, remember with Indiana Jones, though, here's an important thing. Sorry to interject, but here's a really important. Remember with Indiana Jones, he was running into Nazis, and here's something. Let's do top down. We'll spend the net. Can I just read you the foreword to this book that's written by a guy named Michael Myers? So he's MM, but he's like a top down version. And this is he studied a lot of Mae Brussel too. And this is a book he wrote. And you will love this foreword. Stop me if you. It's not very long. It might sound a little wordy. I don't think I'm too. You'll be pretty blown away. Just in. Well, let me start. You want me to do this because this actually relates to genocide as well? Can I go?
Go for your life, son.
Okay, the Kristallnacht, I think that's how it's pronounced, or Crystal Night, was the name the Nazis gave to the evening of November 9th, 1938, the 15th anniversary of Adolf Hitler's first attempt to overthrow the German government. As in years past, the Nazi Party bosses gathered to celebrate. Among them was Heinrich Himmler, Heinz Führer of the SS, who had planned an event to mark the anniversary. Following the beer hall celebrations, Himmler's SS set out to assault the Jewish citizenry. Before the evening was over, 119 synagogues were set on fire, 7,500 Jewish shops were looted or destroyed, 171 Jewish homes were burned, and 20,000 Jews were arrested and went to newly constructed labor camps. According to the Nazi records, 36 Jews were murdered that evening. You have to deal with all the same media effects. You've got to get the things to draw the extra credibility of speaking to these more high-profile people to bring attention to the lower-profile stuff. Is that what you're expressing?
Well, I say that you cover everything, and as a result, everything comes to me.
Yeah, I don't know. Encoded way, and I know that you mentioned him before. How did you get on with David when you spoke to him?
As well as you can, being, a young man who's like from New Zealand going, oh my God, I'm interviewing David Icke. Isn't it awesome?
Yeah, good content for your show.
Wonderful ideas in the way that he expresses them. But also, it's there online forever, so that people can't deny that it took place, and it gives me credibility just having them on the website, and that's really good because there's so much important stuff that gets talked about on my show that ain't just the big boys, I've had so many activists...
in archives, right?
Oh,
felt like, yeah, it's like, man, I'm yeah, this is the good stuff.
Yeah, it's like almost as if because I got to interview him, not only do I get access firsthand to talk with this guy who's accomplished so much and has such...
And you have to know these certain things when you're dealing with people. Everyone is taught this now. It's not new information, although it is part of the mainstream curriculum now. And the thing is David Icke was writing about this in the 80s, but he was talking about it in his